same artistic traditions are still.
One of the guards had a discus.
They had their crowns, but we cannot call that a hero.
No, one of the guards had a discus.
Over India, they were already ruling many parts, लेकिन 1857 में उनका एक जो formal taking over process था वो काफी हद तक complete हो जाता है, and the last king of Mughals, he was thrown out of the country, और ये जब टेक ओवर कर जाते हैं, from then on, and उससे पहले से ही British came to India in the 17th century, and they came as traders, and once they realized the potential of Indian market, तो उनको उससे बहुत ज़्यादा इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है. And what they did was that they started taking out the Indian raw material to their factories in Europe. वहाँ से उसी की फाइनल प्रोडक्ट्स बना के तो वो दोबारा इन्हीं कंट्रीज को बेचने के लिए ले आते थे. तो यहाँ पर उनका जो बेसिक था, दे वर सकिंग आउट ईच एंड एवरी रिसोर्स फ्रॉम इंडिया. अभी तक आपने देखा है कि इंडिया में बहुत सारे इन्वेडर्स आए हैं, लेकिन उनमें से कोई भी इन्वेडर ऐसा नहीं था, लेकिन ब्रिटिश जो हैं वो वाहिद इन्वेडर्स हैं who never meant to stay here. वो जब डे वन से यहाँ पे आए तो they had this thing in their mind that they'll go back, so they never tried to make it their home. अगर हम एलियंस की बात करते हैं, अगर हम these crops and they were taken to European markets where they were used in their industries. और यूरोप का जो इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन है, that was caused because of African and Asian resources. और उसी के ऊपर बेस करते हुए इन लोगों ने अपनी मंडियां जो हैं या मार्केट्स को इस्टेब्लिश किया. और वन ऑफ द रिचेस्ट प्रोविंसेस ऑफ इंडिया वाज बंगाल. लेकिन बंगाल के ऊपर जब ब्रिटिश कब्जा करते हैं तो दे फेस्ड द वर्स्ट famine of the history of mankind, and at that time photography was introduced. Now this is one of the images that was taken in the 19th century. Photographer, a British photographer, and these are the Bengali people, and he had tried to make a wonderful composition out of it, but this is what the ordinary men were going through. कपड़ा है, मुझे बताएगा बंगाल ढाके की क्या चीज मशहूर होती थी, मलमल. ब्रिटिश के अंडर जो आर्ट प्रोड्यूस होता था, मोस्टली इट वाज बेस्ड ऑन रिकॉर्डिंग द फैक्ट्स. फोटोग्राफी जो है वो बहुत आम नहीं थी, एंड इट वाज अ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव मेथड. सो व्हाट द ब्रिटिश डिड वाज कि जो अपने ऑफिसर्स को वो वहाँ से भिजवाते थे इंग्लैंड से यहाँ पर जॉब करने के लिए, इट वॉज पार्ट ऑफ देयर ट्रेनिंग दैट दे वर सपोज्ड टू लर्न द आर्ट ऑफ ड्राइंग ऑल्सो, सो दैट व्हेन दे कम टू इंडिया व्हाट दे वुड डू इज दिस, दैट दे रिकॉर्ड द लाइफ, लैंडस्केप एंड प्रोफेशंस ऑफ इंडिया एंड सेंड इट टू इंग्लैंड. ठीक है, तो उस सिलसिले में अब जो हमें ब्रिटिश राज के अंदर आर्ट मिलता है, इट इज़ वेरी प्रैक्टिकल, और इसमें जो है रिकॉर्डिंग का एलिमेंट ज़्यादा है. नाउ सी दिस, नाउ वी सी इमेजेस लाइक दिस वन दैट वर डन अंडर ब्रिटिश राज, एंड दिस, एंड दे वर ऑल डन बाय, most of them were done by the British artists, because local artists were trained in miniature style of painting, so they were not able to comprehend. तो फिर उसके बाद इन लोगों ने इस तरह के images जो हैं उनको पेंट करके they used to send it back to England along with the detailed reports. के काम जो है और यहाँ के लोगों के रहने का तरीका, it was fascinating for them, so they had them all painted and sent back as postcards for the friends and the government. Now this is another example, a simple hairdresser, but they had it all painted. So about the wildlife of India, now these were the kind of things or animals they were not able to see in England. England. So that was a novelty for them. अब जो वोटिंग के लिए इस्तेमाल होता है तो हमें ये इमेजेस जो हैं ये बहुत ज़्यादा दिखाई देते हैं. They had made full albums of this kind of animals and birds. And for that purpose, two major mediums were introduced in India. One was watercolor and the other one was oil paints. India में अभी तक जितनी भी paintings थी, some of them were on frescoes or they were using opaque colors. But now, when the British came, they introduced watercolors to the local market. Why watercolor? Is there anyone who can tell me? Watercolor क्यों इस्तेमाल होगा? इसके लिए और what was the reason? Encouraged in India, and another thing that was introduced in India was ready-made colors. Now artists were able to go out and buy the paints of their personal choice and of their personal favor. इस वजह से ये कलर्स जो हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा कॉमन होने शुरू हो गए. And this was the first time because earlier the painters used to make their own pigments, but now the colors were all available in India and they could buy it any time. The other medium that was introduced was.
What time was that?
You can see oil painting. Oil paint का जो medium. This piece has been declared one of the best carpets that were produced in the 19th century, and it was produced in India. Now these are the local rulers. Photography, as I told you, was in. So we see many images of this kind in the late 19th and early 20th century. Another main contribution of the British was in architecture. Their architecture was a combination of European Gothic style and Muslim architecture. It will show you how influential they